Today we're going to go over something that's kind of specific, but it's kind of been making waves in the music headlines, and that is the topic of Jack Black and his issues with Kyle over the Trump assassination issue. Now, I'm going to say completely biased in this video. Of course, as a red-blooded American, I have my own opinions on the situation that occurred, but that's not what this is about. This is purely talking about the effect on music this has had. Now, Kyle said some statements towards the Trump assassination, basically stating that, oh, next time don't miss, that kind of thing. Now, no matter who you are, and no matter what kind of upraising you had, everybody said that, hey, we shouldn't kill people at some point in your life, right? And no matter who you are, the assassination was an attempt on someone's life, and just because you don't like that man, or even if you didn't like that man, it doesn't change anything. No one deserves to lose their life over a simple political disagreements. I think we can all agree to that. But, however, this kind of set a rift on stage that put Jack in a position to either say nothing about the situation and catch flack from one side of the political spectrum for not saying anything about it, or cut ties with his friend over something petty and still catch flack for it. And he chose the latter, which we'll get to that in a minute. At the time, probably was the smartest option, because if he would have said nothing and the tour wouldn't have gone on, it probably could have spelled the end for Tenacious D from probably a large percentage of their fan base, just due to how politically divided we are. Now, I don't agree with his decision to potentially split up with Kyle over making one comment. I'm 100% in disagreement that one poorly in taste joke should ruin someone's career. That's just ridiculous. But that apart, Jack, I grew up watching him, and his content is funny, and no matter where he goes, he's sure to put an amazing performance. And then even his music, even though it's more comedy driven, it's still incredibly talented, and you can tell that there's a lot of effort and care that goes into it. Now, as of recently, he decided that he's going to try to backpedal a little bit. There's a little bit of a discussion about him still being friends with Kyle. The situation between them personally has been completely settled. The Tenacious D will return, quote, when the time resumes. And I kind of wanted to talk about that and how it refers to like a lot of the music scene. I mean, there's notorious musical assholes that are around still. Think Trent Reznor and Fred Durst. I mean, no offense to anybody who likes Trent Reznor and Fred Durst. I know there's some diehard fans out there, but they're kind of assholes. They've said and done some stupid things. That's just the truth. But I think in the long term of things, we should take it as more of a oversight of how picky we can be. Because if you start your career out as an asshole, then I guess you just kind of have that persona that, hey, I'm an asshole, I'm going to be this way. And then that kind of gives you a quote-unquote free pass. Like, Fred Durst has only publicly apologized like once or twice in his entire career for saying something he shouldn't have or doing something he shouldn't have. And great, right? We got Fred Durst to say sorry. But I think that's a pretty double standard, that people like Fred Durst can be a complete douchebag their entire career, and then Jack Black do something that is minute as saying, hey, I don't think it's cool to say I hope someone dies, and then he's obliterated off the face of the planet. That's not, it's not exactly what I would call cool. But I don't know, it seems like music nowadays as well has suffered a lot, just lyrically, from what we can and can't say. I mean, you look back at the 90s, specifically, there's a lot more obscene things said, but that's what music was. That's what it was supposed to be. It was aggressive, it was angry, it was meaningful, and that's not all music now. I'm 100% in the defensive that music is the best it's ever been, with the most amount of genres fitting any and every person's taste. Like, that's great, right? But I'm also in the understanding that what we consider to be mainstream or what we consider to be high talent isn't what it used to be. Lyrics are much more obscene in a different kind of way because the blur between what is acceptable socially is completely different. Some people that's a good thing, some people it's a bad thing, but it seems like there's been a definite shift in what is and isn't acceptable in the music world in the last little bit, and I think lyrics especially kind of display that. Because now, like in the good side of things, musicians talk a lot more about mental health. That's a major benefit, I think, in the musical world. And if you take a look at, let's just take one of the most basic examples of Asking Alexandria, Alone in a Room. That song is quite literally just him talking about his struggle with mental health. And 40 years ago, 30 years ago, that would never have happened. That's incredible that we can do that now. So there is some benefits of what is acceptable changing, but there's also like someone can say the most vile, obscene thing known to man, and we're just like peak lyrics. Like, what was it? Ice Spice in one of her records had some kind of shit related comment in like every song, and that is so funny. But that's what we're considering peak lyrical writing, considering her popularity. And then I don't know. That this has kind of devolved into me just stating things I don't like, I guess. But anyway, back to the Jack Black situation. I think we should cut him a break. It's not that big of a deal. He did what he thought he had to do to save his career. Was it selfish? Yes, but think about yourself. Have you ever done anything that you're not so proud of? You know, like we can't judge the man because he did something that we don't exactly agree with. I'm gonna start trying to do some musical recommendations at the end of these videos. I've talked about Ween a little bit on my Instagram, and I really recommend you go listen to them. Great albums, great musicians. Listen to The Mollusk if you want something a little more experimental, and if you want something more stereotypical along the lines of an alt-rock band, listen to Quebec. Amazing album, really fits in. But I will have to say, don't go into this expecting your stereotypical band, because they change every single time, even more so than Radiohead, and that's saying something, because Radiohead has never had an album that sounds the same, minus like the first two. Anyway, who else can I recommend? If you like country, I recommend Lost Dog Street Band. Really good, goes back to that mental health discussion. Great, really recommend it. I think that's about all I have to say. It's probably a shorter one, but take it easy.